into the Situation Room as we continue to build the narrative about public service and accountability.
Mr. President, this Senate needs to know. Mr. President, this Senate needs to lend its voice to the plight of these people. Mr. President, there is nowhere I can say it except here. This is why I'm elected. If I cannot say these things on this floor, sir, I better resign and leave.
As elections give the citizens the chance to make their political decisions, constant demand for quality leadership from those they voted into office.
Look at us now, there is nothing, we are starving. Tinubu should please do something.
It's also important to having a Nigeria of everyone's dream. Join 괶 Akínyòdé as it takes to task seasoned analysts, opinion makers, business professionals, and politicians on issues around politics, policies, governance, and leadership every Monday to Friday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. on your super dial, Mainland 98.3 FM. We'll welcome you, roommates, as we discuss the situations.
Very good evening to you. Welcome to the Situation Room live on Mainland 98.3 FM. I want to believe your day has been going well. So far, so good. Well, how good? I think that's the best question to ask. It's Tuesday, and this program comes up on the airwaves every Monday to Fridays from 4 to 5:30 p.m. 90 straight minutes of whatever situation that we think we should talk about. Yesterday on the show was a time for us to reflect on how far we've come as a nation, especially how Nigerians are perceived outside of the country, even within the country. Comrade Steve Aluko, the executive director of civil liberty organizations in Nigeria, joined me on the show yesterday. And, the conversation came up on the back of how about 2 weekends ago, if some of my friends are coming into the country to vote, to participate in the Ondo gubernatorial election that was held on the 16th of November. And, one of them was talking about the fact that, he came in from Canada. He had to have, transit flights to Egypt. From Cairo, they were delayed for like 8 hours or thereabouts. And then, they were not treated properly as they treated everybody else on the flight because of the passport he was holding. And then we just got onto that conversation of perhaps maybe we should start from the point of changing the color of our passport. But that was just on a lighter mood. And then all through the weekend, I just kept, watching videos, cases of Nigerians, issues of stereotype. And I just told myself, I said, hey, there's a whole lot of things that we need to look into if truly we want to change the way Nigerians are being perceived. And there's a whole lot more that we need to do also as individuals. And my guest yesterday really tore into the conversation. And he talked about the fact that the family, which is the single and the smallest unit of the society, has a major role to play in how people, are formed and raised. You're properly raised. You don't need to go into crime. I understand the situation of the country, but if everyone goes into crime under the, excuse of, the economy is this, or the government is not doing this and that, then everybody should be, on the street committing one crime or the other. There's no justification for crime whatsoever. You go into another country, you understand their laws when it comes to drugs, when it comes to human trafficking, and you still go on to carry drugs into those countries. You still go on to smuggle drugs into those countries. You still go on to trade drugs in those countries, and then you get caught, and then you put the blame on the government. I understand that the government have major roles to play. 16 months or thereabout into the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we still don't have ambassadors. We don't have people. Well, maybe their embassies and their staff, people handling those responsibilities. But nothing beats having the face of your country in another country. Protect the interest of your, citizens in those countries. Protect your diplomatic interest. Protect your business interest. It's basically the president in that country. But look at where we are right now. And you look at cases of stereotypes. You look at how Nigerians are being perceived as probably sometimes treated as maybe third-class citizens in other countries. That was what we focused on the show yesterday. And I want to especially thank everyone that reached out. We got loads of messages that we couldn't even take after the show yesterday. Today we're making a quick stop, and I'm going to be joined on the show today by Mr. 𝐴꽤ᴏ 𝐴꽤ᴏᴡ, the special advisor on media to the governor of Ekiti State, His Excellency Governor Abiodun Oyebanji. We're going to be looking at some of the things that the state has been up to in terms of IGR. I looked at the indices that was released earlier in the year, I think middle of the year, around June, and stayed from June 2023 to July 2024. Ekiti State also has some numbers, maybe not as encouraging as one would expect, in terms of states that has got, some foreign direct investment. You see states like Lagos, like Rivers, like Jigawa. Then you look at Ekiti State, Ogun State as well. So you just look at the state, and one thing that really fascinated me about Ekiti State lately is the fact that some of the things they put out, you can easily put numbers and stats and data, and I'm like, why not? We should talk about this. And it's basically, more like a state going through the entire process. And I just told myself, I said, Ekiti State is an example of steady progress and growth. I just describe it as a state governance, almost like running a startup. You can see that they are constantly striving for improvement, and they always show some of their workings in quotes with data. That's what I posted a couple of days back, and I figured out, why not? Let's speak to the man that started the responsibility of, selling the image of the states. Let's see how it goes. Well, once again, you're welcome. Mr. 𝐴꽤ᴏ joins me on the show today. I said he's on transit. Hopefully, we can have a link up and, get some of the numbers out. The airport project in Ekiti State, the IGRs in Ekiti State, the FDIs in Ekiti State, the electricity, the power situation in the state. There's just so much to talk about. And by the way, I have a special affiliation with the state. My mom is from Ekiti, so it's always something I look out for. Like, let's see what is going on in that particular side of the country. Once again, you're welcome to the Situation Room Live from mainland 98.3 FM. In case you're just tuning in, my name is 𝐴꽤ᴏ 𝐴꽤ᴏ, and it's always my pleasure to have you join us every Monday to Friday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. where we discuss politics, policies, issues of governance, leadership. Streaming this program live on Facebook 8.3 FM on those probably whatever it is that you've missed on the show. Once again, you're welcome. I'm trying to link all my guests to see how it goes. I think I should take a quick break just to tidy up things, and then we'll come back, and I'm sure my guests would be on, and then we'll get straight up into the conversation. Once again, you're welcome.
Things seem anxious and uncertain. I understand the hardship you face. I wish there were other ways, but there is not. If there were,
in our quest to bring to the table issue-based conversation around nationhood and development, we have made 4 to 5:30 p.m. Monday to Friday the perfect time to welcome you into the Situation Room as we continue to build the narrative about public service and accountability.
Mr. President, this Senate needs to know. Mr. President, this Senate needs to lend its voice to the plight of these people. Mr. President, there is nowhere I can say it except here. This is why I'm elected. If I cannot say these things on this floor, sir, I better resign and leave.
As elections give the citizens the chance to make their political decisions, constant demand for quality leadership from those they voted into office.
Look at us now, there is nothing, we are starving. Tinubu should please do something.
It's also important to having a Nigeria of everyone's dream. Join Oᴏᴜᴜ as it takes to task seasoned analysts, opinion makers, business professionals, and politicians on issues around politics, policies, governance, and leadership. Every Monday to Friday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. on your super dial, Mainland 98.3 FM will welcome you roommates as we discuss the situations.
Thank you very much for still staying with us on the show. My guest is live, via phone, and he's Mr. Yinka Oyebode, the special special assistant to the governor of Ekiti State, His Excellency Governor Abiodun Yebanji, on media, and he's going to be taking us through the journey. Remember, by 2025, we're going to be, cooking up and start the groundwork for another governorship election in the state. Remember, Ekiti State is also one of the off-cycle election states that we have in Nigeria. And about a year into the administration of Governor Abiodun Yebanji, we've had former governors of the state, come out to pass vote of confidence on him. And it's been some steady growth. Like I said, His Excellency has been running the state kind of like a startup, and there's barely numbers that you want to find on FDIs, IGRs, power improvement and situation, the industrialization strives of the governor. You would easily find them online. I said, why not? And let me reach out to the man that saddled that responsibility of telling the world what the state has been up to. And as usual, Mr. Yinka Oyebode decided to be on the show today. Good evening and welcome into the Situation Room. Thank you for joining us on the show today.
Good evening, sir, and good evening to listeners at home.
Well, once again, it's been an interesting year in terms of some of the things that your principal, Governor Yebanji, had been up to. There's just a lot to discuss, from the power sector to the industrialization. I looked at the indices that the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics released sometimes in July. And alongside Ogun State and Lagos, Ekiti State also has some good numbers with FDIs. Mr. Oyebode, can you take us through that journey, especially, how the state has been able to bring some form of upliftment into the quality of lives of the people of the state?
Yeah, thank you very much. Once again, greetings to listeners at home and forever they're listening to the conversation. I want to appreciate you for your introduction, and I interpret the introduction as if expatiate more on the various trajectory of the great Yebanji's administration in the quest to ensure security for them.
Hello? Hello? Okay. We're struggling to get some to establish contact with my guest. I think we just try again. Yes, Mr. Yinka Oyebode has, just joined up on the show, but I think the network, I expect, he was the chief press secretary, now the SA media to the governor. And we just want to have a conversation in respect to what the state has been up to lately, especially in terms of development, infrastructural development, industrialization, which has been a problem for the state. Okay. Mr. Oyebode is back. Good to have you back on the show.
Road infrastructure and powering the economic ability of the administration to build another, connecting them for even vision for economic prosperity. Like tangible is and that's when that all they needed was because of certain link fix not reached in the last project, which are critical institutions of government, the government structure and street lights at the State University. We're servicing some businesses and even some entities that are not for them and other ones in economic and have demonstrated even distribution of it. It has enhanced individual scale businesses alone. Even migrants, the barber shops are coming alive again. by the administration of with street light components are good, are motorable, and good people can stay in their homes because the environment is. We are not surprised. Fixing intercity, rural within this 4 years period. Do this, Bobby. Those are roads that lead from their produce to the market, because the bane of agricultural development in Nigeria, as you may also want to know, is the inability of the farmers to be able to bring their produce to the market on time. On time. So a lot of goods perish in the market. They can't even get in the farm. They can't even get to the market. Their produce to the market without stress, and that is actually boosting economic development, and it's a gradual process. You know, the roads have been agricultural plan where we encourage our youth to embrace agricultural development, enhancing them and supporting them with tractors, supporting them with seedlings, supporting them with off-taking arrangements. They were given land, they will plow the land, government will give them seedlings, and then government will provide an enabling environment in terms of security for them. And in turn, when they have grown their produce and it is time for harvest, government is ready to support them. That the ones they could not sell to the market, government will take it and we are out and they get paid. So you see a lot of young men being attracted back to farming through this, that the youth, bring back the youth into agricultural scheme of the government. So you look at it totally. As government is investing in infrastructure, power infrastructure, road infrastructure, it's also investing and encouraging the young ones to go back to farming so that we can grow ourselves out of poverty, so that we can grow ourselves out of food shortage. And that's exactly what we do. And for the people in the informal sector, for the women who are trading, for the men who are artisans and all that, arrangements have been made to get them into cooperative so they can have access to loans, soft loans that have negotiated rates and a very easy payment plan that government has entered into with some financial institutions. So they have access. Many of them access to as low as 50,000, 200,000, 250,000, and as high as 5 million to boost their business. And we all know that this kind of businesses, when they are boosted, it is the direct benefit of the people. Becoming truly the land of honor that it is, and emphasizing the shared prosperity mantra of the building of the Banjia administration.
Thank you very much, Mr. Iyebode. You've said a lot, but in all of these things that you said, one of the things that I'm always interested in, especially when you have states in quotes that are quite sizable in population, in IGR, is the ease of doing business. I've been to Ado-Ekiti before a couple of times. I've been to Ijero as well on transit. I've been to I think I've been to Afao-Ekiti. That was when the former governor Ayodele Fayose was still the governor. But in all of this, these are major towns that I've mentioned. But of course, there are other towns in the state that may not exactly have full attention of the government. Take us through what has changed in the last few years, especially in terms of ease of business in and around Ekiti State.
Okay, thank you. In Ekiti State, there is what is called Ekiti State Investment Promotion and Economic Development Agency, ECTIPA. This agency, to underscore its seriousness, is under the chairmanship of the governor, and it boasts of top-notch professionals who are members of, who are officials of the agencies, who are on the board of the agency. And the whole idea is geared towards ensuring ease of doing business and also attracting more investment into the state. So this agency monitors and is open and it guides investors on how to go about their business in the state. Through them, they can have whatever document they need, either to register their business or to participate in business investment in the state. They have it, they assist them, the prospective investors, in getting through terms of what they want, the land, the accommodation, the documentation, in everything that they might need assistance. So these agencies run 24/7, and they're always really available to assist. And through their involvement in the investment drive of the administration, our investment portfolio has really shot up tremendously through their investment. And when you're talking about states across the state, we know that every state, every town and community in the state is important to the government. It is important to the administration. So conscious efforts are made to extend development drive to those states.
Into those
so as
areas.
I talk to you, when you're talking to those areas, as I talk to you, roads are going on also outside the state capital to aside very major roads that are for economic advantage to the state are being fixed. The 괏괏 road is at the top notch of it fixed. The 괏ᴏ and 괏ᴏ road, which is also part of our part of the state education corridor, is the Ila-where-Ikogu, the Elijinian road, is also being attention of government, which is along our tourism corridor area. And so we have even roads that linked up with the northern part of the country, including of them are being fixed here and there, ensuring that people have free flow of traffic from different parts of the state, and ensuring that business and economic activities also increase in those areas, because not everybody will stay in the state capital. But we know that when you're coming to do business in the state, there are greater opportunity that you might likely want to come to the state capital, and that's why the state capital is giving a major facelift in terms of accommodation, in terms of office, in terms of security, in terms of internet penetration, in terms of power supply, being given a facelift. And all these are being extended to our various local governments, to the major towns and villages, to ensure that they also feel the impact of the administration, and to ensure that if anybody decides to have business domiciled in those areas, if they have access to good roads, they have access to good power supply, and they have access to manpower. And that is how it has been. It's an integrated economic development and economic plan for us in the state.
Well,
bringing in the various towns and villages to play prominent roles also there, and encouraging people to also invest in those areas, because lands are even more readily available in those areas. And wherever you are, government is able to reach out to you. Those into agri and processing, we encourage them to go into those areas and be also a driver of economic development in those areas. And government is partnering with them to fix roads, to fix power situation. So everything is going on well for them.
Mr. Ewuode, I think at least you mentioned the 괏ᴏ road. My mom is from Ikoyi, so thank you for putting that into consideration. But I mean, more importantly, you made mention of the Ikogosi, which takes us to the next question around tourism, art, and culture. When the governor of the state was campaigning prior to the his election, he made mention of a few things on his agenda. He talks about human capital development, job creation, infrastructure, and industrialization. He also mentioned art, culture, and tourism. When I was in school as an undergraduate of Adekunle University, at the end of every session, we'd always drive down from Akungba down to the Ikogosi warm spring resort, just to relax from the stress of lecture through the semester and all of that. And I've always looked at that gold mine as something that any government that's got vision and got drive on idea should look into. Talk to us about what the governor Abiodun Ebanji is doing in terms of tapping into the unlimited opportunity in terms of arts, culture, and tourism in Ekiti State.
Thank you very much, and I'm happy that you said some years back you have taken time to exploit the beauty of the Ikogosi warm spring, where we have both cold and warm water coming together. But I'll appeal to you that you take another trip to that wonder.
Mr. Ewuode, it's not expensive now.
I will appeal to you to take a step further to go and visit it, spend a couple of days there, then you will be an apostle. You will be a gospeler for the state development in terms of tourism. Now, what I'm trying to say in essence is that thank God for continuity. A major step at returning 괏 in terms of engaging a PPP arrangement, because government actually has no business in business. Government has attempted to run the place and it wasn't successful. At the twilight of the immediate past administration, an arrangement has been made with the concessionaire and hospital management and hospitality company to take over the management and run it profitably. And I can accept you, as Mr. Governor inherited that, he's been running without vision. Ikogosi today is one of the most attractive tourism centers in Nigeria. And I say that with every sense of responsibility. As I speak to you now, a committee that was set up by the federal government to review the laws are having their retreat in Ikogosi as I speak to you. Various companies and organizations and institutions, some embassies have brought their retreats and workshops to Ikogosi Home Spring. And that's in addition to hordes of people that are daily patronizing. Public-private partnership initiative, and it has worked extensively in this area. Even the sister company of 괏 Australia is the one already. Their sister company, by virtue of the success story for it, have come back to also invest in different other aspects in the state, testifying to the uniqueness of opportunities that we offer investors in the state. They have also come around, come and invest in agribusiness aside the tourism business, the certificate that brought them to the state. And that speaks to our use of business, creation of a conducive environment for businesses to thrive, creation of a conducive environment for safety of investment, for safety of personnel as well. And that is what is missing. And with the success of the government is also looking at another PPP arrangement in three critical tourist centers. And I'm sure it's the beginning of the year. You will hear a lot more about that effort. While also exploring many other things, as I speak to you, the tourism master plan of the state is at the final stage has been pulled out, which is also speak and enhance the way we ensure we also get more money, IGR, from tourism from our tourism potential. So it's going a lot to do with the tourism department and for efficient running of the tourism sector, the government has removed it from the Ministry of Culture. So tourism sits as an agency headed by the general who reports directly to Mr. Governor. So a lot is going on there. And in terms of agriculture also and hard, the Ministry of Agriculture has identified economy sits from that. Government has been able to provide money to support our arts. Musician, whether you are theater artist or whatever, or dressmaking or not making artworks, different ones, the mass weaving, the jewelry making, the actual baking, they have assets, some form of funding domicile in the Ministry of Arts, Culture, and Activity, because just to enhance their activity, just to showcase them and empower them. Once they are empowered, they will scale up their trade. Once they are empowered, they will expand their business.
Mr. Everybody, thank you very much. Thank you. Now, let's try to wrap up the conversation because you actually told me you're on trance and I said to just put it in. Irrespective of how beautiful of these ideas are, Mr. Everybody, I mean, a lot of credit needs to go to the governor of the state, for FDIs, the IGRs, and all of that. But one thing is important and very important in governance, which is the security. No matter how beautiful your infrastructures are, public infrastructures, bringing it, if the state is not secured, then all of these efforts is just going to be in waste. Talk to us about how the state had moved from the unfortunate, killings of the traditional rulers some months back. The response of that by the governor is also something that is worth commending, by the way. I saw, reports of, having meetings with traditional rulers of some of the affected areas and all of that. But more importantly, take us through some of the efforts that the governor has been able to put in place in the last 2 years to make sure that Ekiti State is not just peaceful, but it's also good enough for business.
Thank you very much. Even though it's not strategic for me to discuss all our security arrangements that have been put in place, but it's important to say this also, and again with every sense of modesty, that the situation has improved tremendously from what it used to be in the beginning of the year. Earlier in the year, we know we experienced a lot of some unfortunate situations in the area of kidnapping and in the area of gruesome murder of those traditional rulers. God rest their souls. But arising from the ashes of that terrible experience, the governor, like you said, stood up and re-engineered so many engagements with the critical stakeholders, the national institutions, the security agencies in the state, and security leads and heads of security structures, even the country, nationally. And there are a lot of collaboration going on, and all of them came to our aid. And then we also needed, and the government also rejig the security architecture of the state. More investment in information gathering, more investment in technological tracking of criminality. And then that has really boosted the state. In the last couple of months, you have not had any of such, because now the state has been made a no-go area for criminal elements. You will be caught.
Hello?
The apprehended is higher because of the huge investment we have made.
Hello, Mr. Everybody, can you hear me? Oh, I figured out we lost that connection. Let me try and reconnect with him so that we just wrap up the conversation. In case you're just tuning in, it's Mainland 98.3 FM. We're just trying to look at what the state government has been up to in terms of infrastructure, in terms of art, culture creation, job creation, security, and some of those issues. Mr. Everybody, please, we lost connection with you. Just go on with your line of thought.
Yes. Like what I said was that the governor rose from that and took up the challenge and interacted, re-engineer our interaction and collaboration with the various security agencies, the national institutions, even the youth. And then we were able to come up, reinvigorated our Amotekun, and then created Agro-Masha. The Agro-Masha is essentially to ensure security on the farmland and in the neighborhood, and they complement the efforts of Amotekun. And the Amotekun also complement the efforts of the structured security agencies. And through this, there was a rejig of security architecture within the state. Now we have more intelligence sharing among the various security agencies running the state. More collaborative efforts within themselves and with the government. And we also have people ready to volunteer information as and when necessary on criminal activities or suspects. And that has actually aided crime detection. Government also invested hugely in devices, in technology to track criminal elements, and especially the fleeing ones. So all these have been done, and regular combing. Various structures were put in place to comb towns and villages from time to time. And one of the notorious areas in Aduekiti, the 𝐓𝐡𝐞 area, government just demolished it now with the hope of extending the business victory to the place, because it has been a kind of a den for the outlaw. Government invest and demolish the place, pay compensation to the owners of properties there, and then factoring the area into the business district of the state that is receiving attention presently. So that actually, and then that the governor said at one of the fora, the fact that more people have embraced farming, please note this, the fact that more people have embraced farming, leading to cultivation of more land, hectares of land in their thousands, that has also rubbished the various forests that some of this have depleted some of the forests that these outlaws use for their criminal activities. So as more people go into farming, more dens of armed robbers, more dens of kidnappers are being unveiled and being rubbished, and then the commercial activities, agricultural activities is now taking place. So if you notice very well, it is in the northern axis that you have this crisis, and in the northern axis alone, we have more than 10 farming clusters there, agricultural clusters there, that is very active now. Young people going to farming, big players in our big business coming in to set up farms and set up processing plants. So as these activities are going on there, by and large, there are no more hiding places for criminal elements. And this agricultural investment is across the various three geopolitical senatorial districts of the state. And this has actually helped in curbing criminal element. And again, we have also strengthened security surveillance along the border. The border towns are always the areas that these criminal elements come in, because usually when criminal elements are being pursued from neighboring states, they quickly sneak into neighboring and boundary towns. So we have had to strengthen our security surveillance in those boundary towns as well, while also not leaving the main town, the mainland, without being secure. So a lot is going on. Government has also been able to support the police and the army with vehicles, with armor tank, and with incentives also in terms of supporting them, to actually ensure that they live up to expectation. Because the one that is going to pursue an armed robber that is speeding at top speed to get away needs a very good vehicle. It needs a very good patrol vehicle to be able to do that. And if you want the police to come and comb some hideouts in the night or early in the morning, they need vehicular movement. So these are being provided. And then how much APC was also provided to ensure that. And if you notice in the last 3-4 months, we don't really have incidents. And we trust that even as you approach this Unitide season and the festivities that come with it, they will be secured for people returning home, for people coming around for investment, for people coming around for tourism, to enjoy themselves. And we hope and we can beat a chest to that the environment is well secure, better secure than ever now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tᴏɪᴛᴛᴇʀ, special advisor on media to the governor of Ekiti State. Let's do this. Let's just wrap it up real quick. I know that by 2025, let me jump this gun real quick again. Election conversation will start coming up. Maybe for the second time ambition. I'm not putting anything out there yet, Mr. Tᴏɪᴛᴛᴇʀ, but remember sometime last year, we had former governors like Aɗiēlefáyọ̀ṣe, former governors like Káyọ̀dé Fáyẹ̀mí, coming out to give a glowing endorsement to the second time ambition of Governor Abiodun Oyèbánjí. What are we expecting next year in terms of, doing more ahead of the 2026 election in the state? It's the conversation we may choose to look away from, but it's not a conversation we can choose to avoid. I'm sure you understand what I'm saying.
Yes. What I'll just tell you is that they said the reward for hard work is more work. Mr. Governor hasn't done excellently well the last 2 years, leading all this scale of endorsement by critical elements in the state, has just also placed on him an enormous responsibility to strive to do more, to strive to excel more, to strive to make government more accessible to the people, to do more development with the people and for the people, and to ensure human capital development, which has always been a top priority in the mind of the government, to ensure that our schools run efficiently and effectively to ensure that our school children also pass excellently because of the creation of conducive environment both for learning and for teaching, and to continue to provide incentives for the teachers, for the workers, and so that they can always put in their best and leading to excellent service delivery. These are the things we're going to see more. And we're going to see more commissioning of projects. A lot of projects are going on simultaneously, road projects, building projects, structures going on around the place, and so many programs of government in the area of tourism, in the area of creative economy, in the area of digital economy, especially our ʻEkiti zone and the ʻEkiti special processing zone. We're going to see a lot of activities going on there. The government just received $80 million support for the ʻEkiti zone from the African Development Bank. We need to see a lot of activities going on there in the coming year. We will witness a list of what we have been able to achieve in agricultural development. Because if you have used this year and the out of line to prepare to encourage people to attract them back to farm, making them to know that government land is readily available for farming, government tractorization policy will be deployed to support them, to help them tractorize their farm, and to ensure that they're going to be getting a lot of support out of seedlings and offtake from the government. I intend to see that 2025 we'll be having conversations around food security and food sufficiency in the ʻEkiti State. We'll be having conversations around enhanced growth in the ʻEkiti State. We'll be having conversations around more efficient service delivery in the ʻEkiti State. And we'll be having conversations around a tremendous growth leap in the economic activities within the state, leading to bigger economy. That's the conversation I then looking at even 2025 before the issue of politics takes center stage.
Okay, thank you very much. But one thing I know is that politics and governance always go hand in hand. So for every action that, anyone does, whether as a councillor, as a local government chairman, there's always something at the end of it. Mr. Yinko, thank you so much for taking time out. I don't know how you did this. Maybe you packed somewhere, but I know you're on transit. So I really appreciate you for being my guest on the show today.
Thank you very much.
We'll certainly keep we'll certainly keep in touch with you, and have a very good evening.
I will appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, quick one. Pretty interesting and engaging, by the way. I just spoke to Mr. Yinko, the special advisor on the media to the governor of ʻEkiti State, His Excellency Governor Abiodun Oyèbánjí. Well, I'm sure that by next year, the conversation around the election and a host of other things would certainly, be coming up, and I'm very sure that a lot of people will be focusing on that state as well. In case you just join us, well, I welcome you, but admit that you've missed a lot. But you can go on our Facebook page, our facebook.com/mainland and 98.3 FM to join the conversation real quick. By 5 o'clock, we're due for our first commercial break. And then when I come back, I read your messages. Well, I think I should read this one real quick before we go on the break. This one says, Nigerian politicians are the same, left and right. They would always come on radio to say good things. But ʻEkiti State seems to be a government that is developing. Okay, ʻEkiti State seems to be a government that is developing, and hopefully the governor will do more. I heard that they had FDI of $55,000. Okay. That's Festus from Ikorodu. When I was going through the release, that the stats that was posted by a Business Day newspaper, I think around July or thereabouts, and then I saw the FDI of Lagos, I saw Ogun State, I saw Rivers, and I saw ʻEkiti State, and I said, you know what? It is better than nothing. I checked, Osun State and a few other states in the southwest, despite the tremendous potentials that they have in terms of land mass, the potential of, bringing in investment, especially in area of agriculture. And you find out that some of these states don't even have anything to put on the table as their foreign direct investment. But I'm sure a lot of things need to be done, and many of us understand that things need to get better so that the state would not, totally depend on whatever is coming in from the federation accounts as a FAC allocation every month. If you look at Bayelsa State is 92% dependent on federal allocation every month. That means even the IGR from the state can barely sustain the running cost of the government house in Yenagoa. It's tough. I see a lot of other northern states as well with so many local governments, and you check their IGRs, is almost nothing. So everybody just waits for what is coming from Abuja. Lagos has about 22% of their part dependent on federal allocation. That means Lagos can, survive and take care of itself alongside a few other states. But when you have states that's got tremendous potentials in terms of, collaborating with other states, you know what? I have landmass. Come on, plant here. What are you giving me in return? Like we saw with Lagos State, with one of the northern states in area of rice production, rice farming, planting and production, But a lot of things need to be done. I would always provide platforms like these to ask questions on what these governments and these governors are doing in terms of the internally generated revenues. Yes, times are tough. It's really difficult to get people on their tax commitment these days, but leadership comes with a lot of responsibility and human face. So when you're asking these people to make these payments, you also have to understand that the times are tough. What does the minimum wage get you at the end of the month? How many states have even implemented the minimum wage? I know that Governor of Taraba recently signed that into law, the Governor of Ondo State as well, the Governor of Osun State as well, but a lot more needs to be done beyond just, throwing minimum wage to the people. How many civil servants, what is the population of the civil servants in some of these states? So if I'm not a civil servant, I'm expected to find a way to fix my life. Let me take a quick break, commercial break, pay some bills. When I come back, I'll read more of your message and also pick your calls. 0913-600-0410. My guest on the show today was Mr. Yinka Oyebode, the special advisor on the media to the governor of Ekiti State, Governor Abiodun Yebanji. I'll be right back after this very short break. Okay, I think the show needs to go on. So let me just quickly pick your call, 0913-600-0410. You can join the conversation, have your take on this session I just had with my guest from about 4:15 or thereabout to 5 p.m. Mr. Yinka Oyebode was my guest on the show, and we looked at some of the things that the governor of the state is doing in terms of development, in terms of commitments, and more importantly, the question of leadership and getting more for the people, because government comes with a lot more, especially in the area of development, in the area of maximizing and providing security for some of these people. I think is really, really important. Well, we're due for that break. Let's quickly pay some bills. Well, we'll get back. I'll pick your calls. Please, I can't pick your calls right now. Let me quickly go to the other side and get in some monies, and then we'll continue with the program. Stick with us.
For every 6 shares I hold, I get one more.
What are you doing?
I am counting the numbers I get from over 5 billion shares. FBN Holdings is giving existing shareholders the chance to buy more shares at 25 naira each. This means that you can get one new one for every 6 you own. Don't miss out. Own a share of tomorrow with FBN Holdings rights issue. The offer opens from the 4th November to 12th December 2024. Visit your stockbroker or any First Bank branch to get started. You can also access the offer directly on your First Mobile Banking app. FBN Holdings. Own your share of tomorrow.
Chai, my head oh. Oga landlord, why you dey shake like ceiling fan? My village people don't come again oh. This one with your body hot so, you don't do test? Yes, see result oh. Oga landlord, no be your village people oh. Na malaria, you need Luta. Luta na better medicine wey dey knack down malaria. Oya see am, take am. Thank you Oga Luta. I don't dey kampe. Lɪධᴇ, brand of Artemata and Lumefantrine, is another quality product from ⴏ marketed by Pharmatex Nigeria Limited. If symptoms persist after 3 days, see your doctor.
Everybody say thanks, Luther. Malaria's in big trouble.
Hey there! Yes, you! You just won 5,000 naira cash! And you, sitting by the side, there's 1 month Showmax subscription to watch the Premier League waiting for you! You behind! Of course! You're not left out! How does 1,000 naira airtime and 2,000 naira Uber discount sound? All this could come true when you buy the No Unwrap and Win pack. Open it, look for a cube with a 6-digit code on its wrapper, text the code to 8011 and follow the prompts to stand a chance to win any of these instant prizes. Promo valid from July till December. Terms and conditions apply. Get extra value on the No Unwrap and Win pack. No, eat for good.
àti pé fún ìdíkòwò mẹ́fà tí mo ti ní mo ní àǹfààní ẹyọ kan sí i.
Ewu lẹ gbé ṣírò lè báyìí.
mo ń ṣe òǹkàyé tí mo lè ní nínú ìdíkòwò bílíọ̀nù márùn-ún ni nítorí FBN Holdings ìtẹ́pẹpẹ ìdíkòwò fún àwọn tó jẹ́ onípín ìdíkòwò wọn lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́. èyí já sí pé àwọn tó ti ní ìpín wọn lọ́wọ́ báyìí ní àǹfààní láti ní ìpín kan sí i lórí ìpín mẹ́fà tí wọ́n ti ní ìpín ọjọ́ ọ̀la pẹ̀lú FBN Holdings. ìpín ìdókòwò yìí ìdókòwò bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní ọjọ́ kẹrin oṣù kọkànlá di ọjọ́ kejìlá oṣù kejìlá ọdún 2024. kàn sáwọn olùṣòwò ìpín ìdíkòwò rẹ tàbí ẹ̀ka ilé ìfowópamọ́ First Bank. bákan náà ni o lè ra ìpín rẹ lórí First Mobile app rẹ. FBN Holdings ní ìpín nínú ọjọ́ ọ̀la.
Chai, my head oh. Oga landlord, why you dey shake like ceiling fan? My village people don come again oh. This one wey your body hot so, you don do test? Yes, see result oh. Oga landlord, no be your village people oh. Na malaria, you need Luther. Luther na better medicine wey dey knack down malaria. Oya see am, take am. Thank you Oga Luther. I don dey kampe. Luther, brand of Artemata and Lumefantrine, is another quality product from ⴏ marketed by Pharmatex Nigeria Limited. If symptoms persist after 3 days, see your doctor.
Everybody say thanks, Luther. Malaria's in big trouble.
Hey there! Yes, you! You just won 5,000 naira cash! And you, sitting by the side, there's 1 month Showmax subscription to watch the Premier League waiting for you! You behind! Of course! You're not left out! How does 1,000 naira airtime and 2,000 naira Uber discount sound? All this could come true when you buy the No Unwrap and Win pack. Open it, look for a cube with a 6-digit code on its wrapper, text the code to 8011 and follow the prompts to stand a chance to win any of these instant prizes. Promo valid from July till December. Terms and conditions apply. Get extra value on the No Unwrap and Win pack. No, eat for good.
You're listening to Mainland 98.3 FM. The sound of Lagos.
Things seem anxious and uncertain. I understand the hardship you face. I wish there were other ways, but there is not. If there were,
In our quest to bring to the table issue-based conversation around nationhood and development, we have made 4 to 5:30 p.m. Monday to Friday the perfect time to welcome you into the Situation Room as we continue to build the narrative about public service and accountability.
Mr. President, this Senate needs to know. Mr. President, this Senate needs to lend its voice to the plight of these people. Mr. President, there is nowhere I can say it except here. This is why I'm elected. If I cannot say these things on this floor, sir, I better resign and leave.
As elections give the citizens the chance to make their political decisions, constant demand for quality leadership from those they voted into office.
Look at us now, there is nothing. We are starving. Tinubu should please do something.
It's also important to having a Nigeria of everyone's dream. Join ⴏ as it takes to task seasoned analysts, opinion makers, business professionals, and politicians on issues around politics, policies, governance, and leadership every Monday to Friday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. on your super dial Mainland 98.3 FM. We'll welcome you roommates as we discuss the situations.
thank you very much for still staying with us on Mila 98.3 FM. I guessed earlier on the show before we went on that commercial break was Mr. Inkoyebody, the special advisor on media to the executive governor of Ekiti State, Excellency Governor Abiodun Yebanji. Like I said, a few days ago, I stumbled on an information, an article written in Premium Times, and I decided to really go over it, and it just detailed some of the things that the governor had been, about in the last 1 year plus in terms of security, infrastructure, development, industrialization of the state, in terms of tourism, art, and culture. And I said, you know what, let me reach out and let's have that conversation on a larger scale to see, how some of the states that don't exactly get the much of the attention are surviving and keeping, their indigents happy, if there's anything like that in the current reality of the Nigerian economy. And like I said, we're streaming on facebook.com /Mila 98.3 FM 0913600410. Ogungbe Samson Akoni on Facebook says it is peaceful and very lovely people. I also school at Federal Polytechnic Ado Ekiti. Thank you very much for dropping that on Facebook. You said, good afternoon, please help us beg Ekiti State Governor to reduce the tuition fee of XU. My daughter got admitted. The school said we should pay 450,000 for tuition fee for mass communication. Thank you. Wow. Okay, Atonaka Samuel on Facebook says, okay, thank you. That's a personal message that I appreciate. But Mr. Ogungbe Samson Akoni, in case you're listening to me, I assume you are. I would reach out on this one. 450,000 for State University for mass communication. That's a lot of money. That's a whole lot of money. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
You're welcome.
Yes, my name is Ambrose.
Pastor Ambrose, it's been a few days. Hope you're fine.
Nigeria I always listen. The issue of Ekiti and all of those things that you mentioned and all that this man said, I want to ask a question. With all the old things that are difficult, can't, apart from Ekiti, all the state governments, can they cultivate farm rice? Can they cultivate yam farm? Individuals are doing this thing. How much more state government? If they do all of these things, we know that cost of fuel has made everything expensive. Do you know that even the eco rice now, I'm just talking of Lagos now, their prices are based on foreign rice. The local rice is, they will first of all find out if foreign rice is 120, they will put their own at 100 or 110. So the question is this. You're talking of security, you're talking of all of this. Without food, there won't be security. All these states, all of them, if they cannot even go and do other things, can't they do farming? Rice, yam, cassava, gari, maize. My wife has a farm somewhere along Ibadan Road, and she goes there, farming. But she goes there and all of those things, and they go there to steal those things. Okay, I'm just wondering, those government, they just collect allocation from the federal government, and that's all. And at the end of the day, share it. So how do you expect such an economy to grow? It cannot grow. The state government, if it's listening to me, they should go into massive farming. And then all of this corruption, they should look for security men that will take care of this farm. Make sure, because it's another thing, okay? The same people, they are the ones that will loot all the whole product in the farm because of corruption.
Thank you.
Okay, Nigeria is
well, Pastor Ambrose, you just have to keep it going. Hello, good evening. Prince Wise. Well, it's been a while. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, my dear. You see, the man you spoke to now, he spoke very well. No, I always see, when you talk of Ekiti and Osun, they look alike. We go to Undo now, that's all in Undo. Oyo is a little better, like Pasogu. But when you talk of Ekiti also, this southwest only rely on farming. But I think whenever I talk about mechanized farming, I talk that the federal government can assist, but 95% or 99% is not belong to the government. And you have that land in the southwest. Fertile land, green land that can go what you need. People are talking about rice. That are coming from Thailand, India, and other places.
Prince Wise. Hello, I'm struggling to hear you, but if you can,
let me change my position. I want to run out to where I am now.
If you can, I want to ask you a question.
Go ahead, my dear.
A couple of times I've seen you make certain posts on social media, specifically on Facebook, in area of agriculture. I don't know. I think you have a farm somewhere in a bit of some large scale. Why do you think the Nigerian government are struggling to take advantage of the land mass that we have, and we're battling food crisis? You look at Ekiti, for instance, Prince Wise. You look at Ogun State, for instance. You look at Ondo State, for instance. And then, we understand that maybe Lagos because of, the nature of the state. But why are we struggling? I've been privileged to travel to a couple of states, especially in the very far north. You go to Maiduguri, for instance, and then you're traveling in between two local government for like 3 straight hours, and you just see land spread on both sides of the road, fresh, untouched land. Why are we struggling, Prince Wise, with maximizing some of the potentials that we have in the area of agriculture? You being someone that does some little level of mechanized farming.
When I travel during the salad period, I have to harvest my tomatoes. I'm fishing the field from the to if they say, if farmer don't put it down, I will just have food. If they say, come out, I will come out. I have a little farm. People that have to go farming. The farmer papa, when they die, I continue in the day. Nobody is there for me. So, you see, when I was talking of mechanized farming, when you say pursue, the next time to my time, that is in the state, you just have a buy. If they wake up in the morning, when you see Muslim pray, the one, the big dog from data or City to order very close. Ayedu, very close. Or to Ekiti, very close. So for me, we have the land over there. If you are coming up from Lagos, from Oshogbo down to Ilorin to Ora, there's a lot of land. But what I'm going to say always is that our government, what are they doing with our money? If somebody tell me, you have to say, no industry, but our industry is land that God for free of charge. Only for them to go back to the land. Even when we talk of Lagos, we can see Lagos, they have the right processing it as immortal. That is clear with the district. I want them to come with Osun State, Ekiti State, Ogun State, to grow what is we are going to eat in this in Nigeria, not only Southwest. But can they do it? They are making money. When it's talking security, we have our Amatekun here. We want Amatekun that can pay their very fast salary. There we go to the inner where police can go to Amatekun can go there for security. What? But I'm saying this as a day I meet Oyilola, my governor. Then I tell Oyilola you can do this. Oyilola, in my area, in my town, I'm one of the stakeholders here. We have a meeting and the Oyilola they buy tractors, all those tractors they are no back to the farm.
Thank you.
We be like say nothing go wrong.
Thank you.
So finally, they must keep corruption because a trader will set himself as a farmer. Give me money. That's a town. Please just a second. That's a town request for that give free loan or so. Some people go to another man's farm to go and present himself. Say I'm a farmer. They will give you loan. After taking loan, you say you don't go to another thing.
Wow.
Don't happen in this country.
Wow.
Because it's Nigeria.
Prince Wise, thank you very much for that contribution. I deliberately decided to put you up on that because I know that you're also into some form of farming, maybe not exactly on the consumption scale. And that's why I decided to ask you, why are we struggling with taking advantage of all of these natural spaces that we have?
How are you?
I'm very fine. Good evening.
Yeah. Chooks calling from Aja.
You're welcome, Mr. Chooks.
Yeah, I just want to highlight some areas. Maybe it may not be deliberate, but at least because of time and some situations you couldn't touch. Even if we are talking of riverine areas which Lagos falls under, we have some other forms of farming. We have fishing. I was just watching a documentary from Bayelsa. They can invest in fishing. We have the horticulture. We have the animal husbandry. They are doing rabbitry, snake farming. All those things are extension of all these farming issues. But the challenges we are having, there is no way we can excuse federal. Light, I want to tell you that it's a challenge. Many things that, these farmers, many of their tractors they use diesel for, they can power it with light. I'm telling you. And by extension, all these services, that's the processing companies can come up and spring up. All our tomatoes that, like yesterday, my wife brought some tomatoes to me. I'm telling you that all those tomatoes were almost half of this is rot. Because we had to on the generator, put it inside freezer, at least to preserve it for some time. But it can be taken to a processing company. People will be there to work. When they are talking of 1 trillion economy, I believe it is doable. It is possible if we all bend over it. Farming is expensive. It's our life. It's our life. Oil is a secondary. We use oil to make sure that other areas are kept going. That was what they did in Dubai. That is what they did in UAE. They use their oil to promote the tourism industry and see what it is now. Without light, I want to tell you that we are nowhere.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That's the key word I'm looking for. Without lights, we're nowhere. We'll have to find a way to make this country work. Good evening. You're welcome.
Good evening. Ekiti State, you have Bao as the governor. That is the most pragmatic governor in the whole of Nigeria, honestly. Because if you really sit down and look at how he does his thing, you can begin to see from beginning to end what he's trying to do. Look at the clusters of farming he has done across the state. He's tying them with housing. He's doing the roads. He's also fixing power that will help generate all these things together. Meanwhile, what is he earning compared to other states, especially those even in the southwest? Awolowo taught us, and we saw what he did with farming in all the southwest. So why is it small Ekiti that is taking the biggest initiative to ensure that they put things right? I mean, we all need to do better. And when you talked about what are state governors doing, the question really is, land belongs to the state, not the federal government. For federal government to come and use the state in your, to come and use land in your state, he must first talk to you. So they should normally be taking the initiative. I understand that the policies and all of that will be driven by the federal. Federal will support with seedlings, federal will support with tractors, which also states can do, and power and all of that. And all these things have been moved from the exclusive list to the concurrent list. So we should be waking up and doing more in agriculture. And that is why I continue to tell Mr. President that the initial agreement was we were going to import food. Why have we not done that? Because that would have been able to help us bring down the pricing of the inflation we are feeling now presently on the prices of food. So we need to take these things serious and push them. But Bao is the Mr. Pragmatist. I give it that to him. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Thank you very much. Like I said, that's it's basically just asking more in terms of why does it look like it's, like I said, it's being run like a startup. Almost everything is being just being done in details, in numbers, in figures, and some of these details, let me say quite a lot of them, are being made available to the public. And so I just went through the website of the Ekiti state government, and I said, why not? Let me try and see if Mr. Ebode can join us on the show, and then he did. 0913-600-0410. Okay. This one says, good evening, Okpe. Your guest spoke well, but the truth is this: Ekiti State needs to do more in terms of harnessing the resources that they have. The state has good weather, and they have good land also. Okay, thank you very much. That's Bola. From Ikorodu, IKD, I think that should be Ikorodu. And unlawful arrest of bikes, and yeah, I promised to follow that up, and I did, but I've not gotten the feedback. He said this madness must stop, hence the Lagos State government and the Commissioner for Police should urgently address this issue. I would appreciate if some of you can come down to Jai and see these things for yourself. Make on a help also. Okay, Ismail from Ijai Ojokoro, I got your message again. Thank you. That of yesterday is still here. Okay, this one says, good evening. Thank you, Mainland FM. The issue with governance is that some of our leaders don't understand what the people want. Your guest yesterday said Nigerians are the most easiest to govern, and I totally agree. Just give us the basic and let life continue for the people. 2027 is very much upon us, and you can see what the president is doing. Now he's out to France again, or the state visit. We don't know when he's going to be back. Like Buhari, like Tinubu. Okay. That is Shayo from Bagara. Thank you very much. Well, I was going through some numbers recently, and I saw the number of days that the former president Muhammadu Buhari spent out of the country in 8 years, and I was wowed. And all of this sometimes come at a cost to the states. The maintenance of the presidential fleets, some of the things that the entourage of the president, the aides, would also spend while in those countries. It's a whole lot. But hey, I think the government needs to be sincere with fighting this new terrorist group, the Lakurawa. I'm just seeing a story now where the federal government is planning to have more troops as the Lakurawa groups continue to spread, and it's disturbing. Sokoto, Katsina, these are areas where they are beginning to also build their own spread. We cannot afford to have more stretch on the Nigerian military. If intelligence gathering have been taken serious in this country, then we should not be where we are today. Finally, the FCC had detained the former governor of Kogi State, Yahya Bello. Remember the old drama that came up a couple of months, let me say maybe a couple of weeks back. Let's see how it goes. The president had also written to the Senate for an approval to appoint Lieutenant General Oloyede as the chief of army staff in terms of our confirmation. Okay, let's see how it goes. All of that and more by 5:30 when the news would come up, and by 6 o'clock I would also come back for Sports Cruise live from Milan 98.3 FM. Thank you very much once again to my guest, Mr. Yinka Oyebode, the special advisor on media to the governor of Ekiti State, for joining us on the show today. The program continues tomorrow by 4 o'clock, but of course, not going to be my voice you get to hear. You would get to hear the voice of Sage Babalola, because by 1 o'clock, it's going to be midweek politics. Side forward, Victor and I would come around to take you through some of the issues that are currently trending in the area of politics. My name is Okpeyemi. Thank you for your calls and your messages. Make sure your story only is that of positive. I understand that the times are tough, but there's a little we can do in terms of, speaking positive to the country. And more importantly, when we get big platforms, we'll always say things that would continue to unite this country and reduce any form of stereotype that is being, spread across the world against Nigerians.
touch the dial. 98.3 FM. Don't touch the dial. You're listening to Mainland 98.3 FM.
What do you do anyhow? I will follow you. One day I will wire you.
Master. I like the way this your matter they scatter my brain. Baby, don't stop up. Give me your waist. Pick up wine up for me although every night and day. Baby, don't stop up.
You know I did for you. When you feeling low, when you need some love, I did for you. Yeah, pounds and dollar you. I go do anything just to make you smile. Oh my baby boo. But if you do anyhow, I go follow you. Money day, I go wire you. Dos and Gabbana you. Fruits you. Where you want go for the honeymoon? Fine wine, morning dew. Goddamn.